Shalom, my Israelite brothers and sisters. So first of all praises to our Elohim and to his only begotten son, Yehoshua. So this is going to be part 2 of Revelation 13. This is going to be the icing on the cake, brothers and sisters. We're going to be dealing directly with America. Now, before you watch this lesson, I would encourage you to go back and read and watch the lesson on Revelation 13 because I cover a lot. Because in this lesson, like I said, we're going to be dealing directly with America. I wanted to save this lesson all to itself because we're going to be dealing with some things that directly apply to America. And the prophecy that talks about in Revelation 13, a beast like a lamb with horns coming up out of the earth, fits America to the T. I mean, exactly spot on. You know, you have some people out there that like to say, well, can you prove prophecy without using the scriptures? Well, let me tell y'all something. What do you think historians get their historical calculations from? They get it from the word of the Most High. Because without the word of the Most High, there would be no history, period. So all your major events that has taken place in Earth's history is recorded in the word of the Most High. From the rise of Babylon to Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome, to the rise of the Vatican, all of it, brothers and sisters. The Most High is letting us know and giving us precious jewels for these last days. And he's preparing his people, his chosen people, for his second coming. And he's giving us a whole layout of the history of this earth and the wickedness of this earth and how it's getting ready to be destroyed. And that's what I always get excited about, brothers and sisters. All right, let's get busy and take to the scriptures. So we're going to be dealing with the verse that deals directly with America. So let's go to Revelation chapter 13, and we're going to be dealing with verses 11 and 12. Verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Now, the last lesson on Revelation 13, we talked about this beast coming up out of the earth versus the other beast coming up out of the sea, meaning that it came out among a populated area among multitude, nations, and tongues. Whereas here, America is coming up out of the earth, meaning that America was not a heavily populated place. Yes, there are people here, but I'm going to explain that here later. But what I really want to focus on is this beast, is this lamb-like beast with 2 horns. Now, why is the word of the Most High describing this as a lamb-like beast with 2 horns? Now, let me tell you what the heathens are teaching. Now, the heathens are teaching that America was built on a Christian nation. Now, I'm going to tell you something, brothers and sisters. That is a damn lie. A lie in all caps, because nothing could be further from the truth. So when the Europeans came over here, they came with one purpose. They came with their slaves. They came to kill, destroy, murder, and steal. That was the whole purpose in order to build their wicked nation. Now, let me make something very clear here. It was the Most High Yah who put us into slavery in the first place. And it is the same Most High Yah who's going to deliver us from slavery. Remember, it says in Deuteronomy 4:27, and Elohim shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathens, whether Elohim shall lead you. But here's the problem, brothers and sisters. The heathens took it too far. And the things that they would do to our forefathers all the way up into this current day would far exceed what the Most High's punishment was for his chosen people. Because first of all, slavery was to bring us to repentance. That was the whole purpose. That was the reason why the Most High allowed us. And secondly, it was because our forefathers broke the laws, commandments, and statutes. That was the reasons. But the heathens took it way too far. And we're going to talk about some of the things that they did to our forefathers and still doing today here in America. So this lamb-like beast would appear to be religious in nature. Now, does not America claim to be the most religious nation on earth? Yes, brothers and sisters, they do. They claim to be religious, but America is the biggest hypocrite of all the nations, for the simple fact that it claims, it appears to be religious. These heathens think they're so good, they think they can never do no wrong, and they try to appear righteous in the eyes of the whole world. So the Most High knew what he was doing when he said that there was a beast coming up out of the earth like a lamb with two horns. Can't get no plainer than that, brothers and sisters. America has always tried to appear to be religious when it's not. It's the total opposite. It is pure evil. Now I want you to notice something. Now look at this lamb-like beast with the two horns. You can barely see the horns. Now notice that the horns does not have any crowns upon them. Now we talked in Revelation 13 how the first beast before it had the 7 heads and the 10 horns and the 10 crowns upon the 10 horns. But notice that this lamb-like beast does not have any crowns upon its horns. And I want to make something very clear here. Now I said in the last lesson, part 1, that these two horns represent the political powers, the Republican and the Democrat. Also, the 10 horns on the first beast, which was the 10 kingdoms of Rome, were also the 10 political powers. But however, the crowns represented the kings that ruled over them. America does not have a king, brothers and sisters. It has a president, and the president does not rule over America. America is controlled by the political party. You can look that up, and that's a known fact. It is ruled by the political party, who's always fighting with one another. It's the Democrats and the Republicans. Congress is the one who controls and makes the bills and puts in the actions of laws. The president doesn't do that. The president is just a figure, a head figure that sits in the White House. So when we're talking about horns, we're dealing with political powers. But then when you add the crowns onto those horns, now you're dealing with kings who control that political power. And that was exactly explained in Revelation 13 with the beast with the 7 heads, the 10 horns, political power, along with the 10 crowns, the kings that ruled over those political powers. All right, let's look at verse 12 of Revelation chapter 13. And we're going to come back to verse 11 because there's a few things that I want to make sure that you understand first. And then we're going to go back on America, and we're going to stay on America for a minute. So look at verse 12. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. Now, I want to just read that part right here. He exercised all the powers of the first beast before him. Now, this was explained in Revelation 13 in the first lesson. So I'm not going to go back over this whole shenanigan about this. So if you want to know more, just please go back and watch the first lesson on that. Because my point here is just strictly on America. So let's talk about this first beast right quick. Let's give a description of it. All right, let's go to Revelation chapter 13, and we're going to read verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Now I want you to take a closer look at this. Now notice the 7 heads, and we proved that through scriptures in the first lesson that those 7 heads were the 7 mountains. But that's not the only thing, because some people would just go off the 7 mountains, and you can say that 7 mountains are anywhere, because you have to apply the others. You have to apply the 10 horns as well as the 10 kings, brothers and sisters. You can't just say just because it sits at 7 mountains, you can just pick any location in the world and say this is the beast. That's what it's talking about. No, you have to apply all of it, not just one portion of it. So you have the 7 heads and the 10 horns, which are the political power. This is talking about the 10 kingdoms of the Roman Empire. And then the crowns that were upon the horns represents the kings that ruled over those political powers. So that's what that's talking about, brothers and sisters. You have to apply everything. You can't leave nothing out. That's why no other country in the world fits this prophecy. Because where does the Roman Empire sit at to this very day? It's Europe. It's in Rome. Where does the Vatican sit at? It's right there with it. And where does the head of the Roman Catholic Church sit? Right there at the Vatican. Too easy, brothers and sisters. We can't get no plainer than this. Okay, let's recap a little bit on Revelation 13:1. The first beast with the 7 heads and the 10 horns and with the 10 crowns upon its horns. So the 7 heads, proven from the scriptures, are the 7 hills in Rome. The 10 horns are the political power of this beast. And the 10 crowns are the 10 kings or kingdoms. The Roman Empire was divided into 10 kingdoms. And brothers and sisters, you can look this information up. That's the reason why I'm not throwing all these periodicals and stuff in here, because where do you think the historians get their information from? They base their calculations off the word of the Most High. So this is a known fact because no other place fits this prophecy. And the little horn with eyes and a mouth like a man is the Vatican, which is the Pope who sits at the head of the Vatican. You can read about that in Daniel chapter 7. Now, a lot of people, well, I'm going to say a lot of people, but some people would only take the 7 heads, meaning the 7 hills. And if you only apply that, then you can pick anywhere. I mean, I can go to Montana and pick out 7 hills and show you that this is what this is talking about. But here's the problem. You got to apply all of it. You got to apply the 10 horns. You got to apply the 10 crowns. That's why the word of the Most High gave us these clues, brothers and sisters. He gave us the answers to this and where this location would be. And no other place in the world fits this description. So if you only go by just the 7 hills, then you can pick anywhere in the country and say that this prophecy is replying to the 7 hills. But you got to add the 10 political powers, and you got to add the 10 crowns, which are the 10 kingdoms. Rome was divided into 10 kingdoms that was controlled by 10 kings until later 3 of them were uprooted. But again, go back and watch the first lesson on Revelation 13, part 1, so you can get a better understanding of this, because I'm going to be dealing strictly with just America. All right, let's go back to Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11. And we're not going to go no further than this, brothers and sisters. So I highly encourage you to watch the first lesson on Revelation 13, because we're going to be dealing strictly with America. Yeah, we're going to be dealing with some other verses, but it's not going to be any other verses in Revelation 13. So let's look at verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So we've already proved from scriptures in the first lesson, this is talking about the rise of America, brothers and sisters. Now I want to make something very clear. Now, the word of the Most High is not calling America a lamb. It just said had 2 horns like a lamb. Now, the word lamb is used, however, so we cannot ignore the fact how America would try to act. The word of the Most High is letting us know how this wicked nation, America, would make itself to appear. When the Europeans came over here to this land, they didn't come over here with the idea of being peaceful. Now, that's what maybe appeared in the eyes of the Native Americans that were over here already, Indians. But however, that was not the mindset of these Europeans. They came over here for one purpose: to take. Let me repeat that again. To take and to steal and to set up their wicked kingdom. That was the whole purpose. But you have heathens who teach that America was founded on religious basis. That's a lie. That is a complete lie. And that's why the Most High is using the word lamb here, because this is what America appears to be. But they're the most wicked nation on the face of this earth. And see, that's the thing about these heathen devils. They'll make it seem like that they like you, but then they'll turn around and stab you in the back and take everything that you have and wouldn't even think twice about apologizing. You think that they're worried about apologizing for slavery? They're telling us to forget about it. They're telling us that we shouldn't even think about it. They're calling us racist because we're bringing up the fact that slavery existed in the United States. Now let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we're going to read verses 49 and 50. So for these heathen devils who want to say that America was built off a Christian nation, I'm going to show you that is a complete lie. Now, I will tell you what America was really built off. It was built off of slavery, theft, and murder. That's what it was built off of. Let's read verse 49. Elohim shall bring a nation against thee from far, and from the end of the earth, as swift as an eagle, as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Verse 50. A nation of fierce continents. Let me read that again. A nation of fierce continents, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. Now let me reiterate verse 50 again. A nation of fierce continent. Now remember, we read in Revelation 13, it says, a beast with two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, because it's considered still a beast like a lamb with two horns. Now, why is it using the word lamb? It's because America would try to appear like it's religious. What was the main thing that they shoved down our forefathers' throat, brothers and sisters? They pushed down a white, blue-eyed Jesus. That's what they constantly showed before our forefathers. They had this wicked cross right before our forefathers. Because it also says in Deuteronomy that they would serve their gods in wood and stone. So they had these idols in front of our forefathers to worship. So these heathen devils would constantly push religion down our forefathers' throat constantly into this very day. That's why so many of our people are caught up in these Babylonian churches participating in sun worship. It all goes back to paganism. And this thing is deep. This thing is rooted so deep into American society, it's not even funny. And this is what they pushed in front of our forefathers. So they would appear to be religious. And America has always tried to appear to be religious before the whole world. But even the whole world knows that America is a joke, and it's being revealed. Because remember, what's done in darkness will come to the light. So this beast with the two horns like a lamb coming up out of the earth, which is talking about America, is being revealed for what its true colors really is. And we're seeing that throughout history. We've known what America has done. And remember, it also said that this beast would speak like a dragon. Has it not been doing that? Now, I can be here all day long talking about the things that America has done, but I just want to show you a short clip. Did you all know that our black babies were used as alligator bait during slavery? This is the stuff that the heathens do not want you to know. This is the stuff that they've been telling you to ignore all these years. Oh, just forget about slavery. Oh, forget about the stuff we've done to you. You're supposed to love us. And you know, they use our word of the Most High. They use our Bible against us to tell you that you need to love them and to forget. You need to forget and forgive. This is famous among the heathens, and they have our own people involved with this mess. Talking about we need to forgive and forget. The Most High does not forgive or forget, brothers and sisters. And he especially doesn't forget because he is not going to forgive these heathens for what they've done. They're going to have to pay because no recompense has been paid to the children of Israel. You got to understand that and be clear about that. That's why these symbolic plagues of Egypt are falling. And right now it's just sprinkling, but it's getting ready to pour. And when it pours, oh, brothers and sisters, we ain't seen nothing. We're going to see so much death and destruction that it's going to make your head spin 1,000 times faster. Now, there's a clip I want you to check out on alligator bait and what they did to our Hebrew babies. Now, this may be a little sensitive to some of you, but this needs to be exposed. This has to be shown so you can see what our forefathers went through, so that we don't keep making the same mistakes, brothers and sisters, by breaking the laws, commandments, and statutes of the Most High. So check out this clip and then we'll come right back.
Over the years, I've been collecting artifacts. As a matter of fact, I've been collecting little pencils like this. I've seen alligators on jars. I've seen alligator ashtrays, and I've seen them depicted with kids in it. And I was wondering why the children would be there. As a matter of fact, this particular pencil sharpener, this is a pencil sharpener or a pencil holder with a black head of a baby sitting out of its mouth. I didn't pay any attention. I have been collecting for quite a few years, and I have the posters and things like that about different things. And then one day I was down in Florida. I'd gone down with my wife, and I took a trip for myself off to the Wild Blue Yonder, going out to hunt artifacts. And in my quest to hunt artifacts, I came upon a pawn shop in Sanford, Florida. In the pawn shop was a gentleman who owned it. They went and got him and told him I was there and I wanted to buy some of the shackles he had hanging around the walls. I asked him, could I buy them? He said no. He didn't want to sell anything. He just wanted me to see it. Then we began to talk. And I asked him, I said, look, please let me buy something. I got to take something from here. He says, no. He says, I don't want to sell anything. He said, but I'm going to the back and I'll sit down. Meanwhile, he came out and came back out and he began to talk to me. He said, he said, you probably don't know this. He said, but years ago, he said, my grandfather, before he died, told me of the things they would do. He said he would go down. He said his grandfather said they would go down and they would take babies with them. I said, what do you mean babies? He says, well, let me tell you. He said the slaves who had babies, they would steal the babies during the course of the day, sometimes when the mothers weren't washing. I said, what do you mean babies? I said, you mean babies like 5 or 6 years old? He says, no. These babies, some would be infants, some would be a year old. He said some would be toddlers. He said they would grab these children and take them down to the swamp and leave them in pens like little chicken coops. They would go down there at night, take these babies and tie them up because they hunted the big bull alligators. These big bull alligators were not raised on the farms. They were in the wild. These alligators would weigh 600, 700, 800 pounds. Those are the ones they wanted. They would skin them, make the wallets, get the meat, do different things with them. He said, but what they were doing was tie them up, put a rope around their neck and around their torso, around here, and tie it tight. He said, I said, well, what would the babies be doing? He said, well, my grandfather said they'd be screaming. He said, what would you do? He said, just let them scream. He said, what they would do, it would help them to chum the water. He said, when they would throw the babies in tied to this rope, he said, in a matter of minutes, he said, the alligators were on them. He said, the alligators would clamp his jaws on that child. As a matter of fact, once he clamped on him, he was really swallowed. You couldn't see anything but the rope. And we would pull the alligator in and tie his nose and hit him in the head with an axe, a pickaxe. He said we would then drag him to the shore. We'd drag him to the shore and leave him lay, and we would do it again, maybe 2 or 3 times a night. I said, so what do you mean? He said, well, yeah, they were taking these babies and killing them for alligator bait. I said, so all these things I've been collecting, are really, really something that I can really talk about and say they're of a truth by what you say? He said, I'm telling you. He said, nobody wants to talk about it. He said, I'm only telling you because you're here. I may never hear from you again. He said, but these things actually depict the acts that they did to slave babies back in the Bayou country and down the south. They did this. They hunted alligators with these babies. That's why they call alligator bait.
Very sickening to the core. And this would be some of the many things that they would do to our forefathers. That's why the Bible says in Deuteronomy that they would not have no regard for the old or the young. They didn't care. You were always a nigger, and you're going to always be a nigger in their eyes. That's the way they see us. And that's why it bugs me to no end when I see our people trying to save these heathens and saying that, oh, we got to love them too. No, we don't. These heathens are our enemies, and they're against the Most High. Now, Revelation 13 was not the only place in the Bible where America was depicted. You can read the whole book of Deuteronomy 28, and it shows you the things that our people would have to go through right here in America. All right, let's talk about the religious aspect of America. This beast with two horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon. Now, you cannot go 3 blocks anywhere in America without hitting some kind of church. We got more churches in America than any other place in the world. And America is big on religion. That's why the Most High did not give his people religion. He gave us laws, commandments, and statutes. So that's why America is such a big hypocrite. They have all these churches. And I showed you from our previous lessons that all these world religions, all Christianity, it all came out of paganism. And you look at these crosses and these symbols that these churches are displaying on their buildings. It's all paganism, brothers and sisters. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and let's look at verse 36. Elohim shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. Now, this particular verse is talking directly about America, brothers and sisters. This is what our forefathers would be pressed upon. They would have all this stuff thrown upon them, all this religion, all these symbols. Now, we know that our people are scattered to the 4 corners of the earth. It was predicted in Deuteronomy 28. And also, America would not be the only place where we would have to serve other gods in wood and stones. I'm going to prove that to you. Let's go to Deuteronomy, same chapter 28 and verse 64, because this is applying to our people who are scattered to the 4 corners of the earth. And Elohim shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And I find that amazing because the Most High is making a distinction between America and the 4 corners of the earth. So letting us know that Christianity and world religions are worldwide, brothers and sisters, not just here in America. They're all over the place. Same way with these churches. You're going to find them all over the world. It's just here in America, they have so many of them because it's a business. That's why the Most High did not give us religion. He gave us laws, commandments, and statutes. And this is why America seems to appear as though if it's religious, because it is the religious, it is the political church state power that runs this whole system. It is part of the Babylonian system. Why do you think that America incorporates religion in its political system? There's a reason for that. It's a deception. And that's why the Most High described it as a beast with 2 horns like a lamb, because America would make itself appear that it's the religious figure or the prime example for the rest of the world to follow. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, this whole religious thing is so embedded in American society that so many people are deceived thinking that America came out of a Christian nation. That's why so many people are deceived about that. It's a deception. It appears like something spiritual when it's not. It's the total opposite. It comes straight out of Satan himself, out of paganism. So now when we go back to Revelation chapter 13 and read verse 12, where it says, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. Now, I want you to take note here. You're going to know now, we should understand why America is so embedded in religion. It's because they're exercising the powers of the first beast. The first beast with the 7 heads, the 10 horns, with the 10 crowns, which sat at the Vatican. Who was the head figure? It was the Roman Catholic Church. It was Pope. Who was the Pope? The Pope claims to be God on earth. This thing is deep. And it goes all the way back to that point, and even back further. And notice it says, and he exercised all the powers of the first beast. The first beast was a religious church state. America is pretty much the same thing, but an extension. America is so embedded in religion, even in its political system, you can pretty much call it a religious church state system. This is some deep stuff, brothers and sisters. So when we go back up to verse 11, and when it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. This is talking about America to the T. No other country in the world fits this prophecy. You can't do it. You can try up and down, but you can't fit it. America is the only place that fits this description. All right, let's look at verse 11 real closely again. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. Now, the word of the Most High is saying that America will speak like a dragon, and it's been doing that for a while now, brothers and sisters. Now, for those of you that may not know what sanctions are acts that the United States have been putting on other countries to stop them from buying and selling or trading with other countries. Now, America has been doing this for a while. They've been doing it since the beginning of early 30s. So it's nothing new with them. But lately, they've been putting a lot of sanctions on North Korea and some on Russia. So this American power that's rising up out of the earth will speak like a dragon. It's speaking with great authority. It's making threats to all the other countries, saying that pretty much they cannot challenge us. We have the greatest military force on the face of the earth. So this place is speaking like a dragon. And for right now, we do have the greatest military power. We have all our military bases all over the world. But guess what? Russia, China, North Korea is starting to become a match. And that's why this whole thing with this war is building up. It's building up like never before. And all the forces are lining up all over the world and calling them drills and training. But they're preparing for the real thing, because we know the Most High is going to gather up these nations against one another. Now, some people say that Trump is going to be the last president. Well, I'm not here to make any predictions on that, because nobody knows the time nor hour. So the Most High can delay his coming, but when the Most High is ready to end this thing, he's going to end it, brothers and sisters. It's not going to be on our terms. So we got to remember that. The Most High is not subject to time and space, because you have some Hebrews out there that are teaching that the world is going to end. Everything is going to end in 2019. But brothers and sisters, we should not get caught up in that. Our thing should be worrying about keeping these laws, commandments, and statutes, because what if the Most High delays his coming for another couple of years, another 6 years, another 10 years? You know, what are you going to do if nothing happens in 2019? You're going to lose your faith because nothing didn't happen on your terms. That's why we got to always be careful, brothers and sisters, about predicting dates on our own terms, because when the Most High is ready to end this thing, he's going to end it. We just have to keep focusing on these laws, commandments, and statutes. And yes, we know by the signs that we're living in the last seconds of Earth history. But remember, there's still some prophecies that have not been fulfilled yet. So there's a lot of things that are taking place. There's a lot of moving pieces that are coming together and everything. So when the Most High is ready, it's going to all happen. I mean, we're starting to see a lot of it now. But it's not going to be on our own terms, brothers and sisters. We got to remember that. And a lot of Hebrews make the mistake, and I've seen so many people leave the faith because something didn't happen that they predicted, and it didn't go their way, so they ended up leaving the faith. And sometimes maybe the Most High is going to allow this to test us, to see how patient we're going to be. Because remember, we still got to go through the fire. We still got to be tried. So don't get it twisted, saints. You know, things are happening rapidly and fast, but don't be predicting. Don't be trying to predict something that you have no idea what you're talking about, because the Most High is not limited to time. As we're starting to see the symbolic plagues of Egypt fall upon these nations, and America is not the only place that these symbolic plagues are going to fall on. It's going to be worldwide. America is not going to be the only place that falls. All the nations are going to fall, brothers and sisters. So this is the time to get ready. This is the time to study. This is the time to consecrate our souls, work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. Learn all you can, because I always say this. There's going to come a time where you're not going to be able to get on YouTube. All that's going to be shut down. Facebook, YouTube, all your social media is going to be shut down. And the only thing you're going to have is what you studied and hid in your heart, so that you can bring it out and recap on it. Because when the Most High pours out his judgment upon these nations full strength, all hell's going to break loose, brothers and sisters, and we're going to really see the real plagues start falling, and they're going to fall heavy. And these trumpets are going to fall so fast and rapidly, you're not going to be able to handle it. These heathens are going to be in such great despair when the Most High pours out his full wrath. Micah 5:15 says, "And I will execute vengeance and anger." Y'all hear that, saints? Vengeance and anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard. So these heathens have no idea of what's coming upon them. This is why we do not want to be caught in this Babylonian system. That's why the Most High keeps saying, "Come out of her, my people. Come out of her. Come out of these religions. Come out of Christianity. Come out of pagan worship. Come out of paganism." Because for those who are going to remain in this paganistic system, guess what? You're going to be destroyed along with the heathens. And that's going to be a painful thing. That's going to be a sorrowful thing to experience, for you to be chosen as a chosen vessel of the Most High, but yet you refuse to come out of Babylon, and you're destroyed with the wicked, with the heathens. That's a shame, brothers and sisters. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, I'm going to wrap it up here. And I'm going to leave you with my favorite text, Revelation 14:12. "Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they who keep the commandments of Elohim and have the faith of Yahushua." So I really pray that you really got edified in this second part of Revelation 13. I just wanted to go further into America and really talk about the religious aspect, because I wanted to tie that in, how it would exercise the powers of the first beast, which was the same pretty much thing in exercising that religious political power state system. So I hope you saw it. Just continue to study. Go back through the videos if you don't understand something. Like I said earlier in one of my videos, as far as the comments, I'll try to get to everybody's comments, but sometimes it's kind of hard because I'm pretty busy. But I'm dependent upon you, brothers and sisters, to really interact with your fellow brothers and sisters, so you can help answer some of the questions and everything that they may have. So with that being said, I say shalom and stay strong.